Hello and welcome to my channel. This week I am transforming a shirt into a pair of shorts. So I'm basically gonna do this whole DIY for free since I'm using a shirt I already owned and a free pattern from the internet, which I'm gonna link down below. So if you want to know how I did it and maybe recreate it for yourself, follow along for this video. So the first step is going to be to print out my pattern, and I'm using this type of paper so that it is easier to pin because it's much thinner. So then I'm going to measure out the scale to make sure that I printed everything correctly. Then I'm going to be laying all of the sheets of paper forming this pattern and then sticking everything together to create this huge sheet of paper. So I'm sticking rows, then sticking the rows within themselves, so all together. So these are my pattern pieces all cut out. And this is the shirt that I'm gonna be using as my fabric for this project. So I'm gonna deconstruct my shirt. So I have kind of a blank canvas to work with. This shirt has pockets, so I'm gonna reuse those and add them to my project, even though the pattern that I printed doesn't have these. And I'm cutting the back pockets. I'm not actually gonna use the pattern provided, but I'm gonna make them a little bit smaller because I didn't have enough fabric for this. Then I'm gonna use actually the hems that are already there for the bottom of the shorts, and I'm gonna line up my pattern piece, and you see that it's not aligned with the end of the fabric, but since these are already hemmed, I don't need that excess fabric at the end. So I'm pinning down my pattern over top of this fabric, and it's very easy since my paper is so thin compared to normal paper you would use for your printer. Then I'm gonna cut out the excess fabric along all the edges, and I'm making sure these pockets are correct. Then I'm gonna pin down my waistband. I didn't use the pattern for the waistband as well, and these are all my pattern pieces cut out. Then I'm gonna pin everything down the middle, and this is the line that you want to follow. I actually made a mistake here. So the green line is what we just pinned and sewed, and the red line are what you need to sew next. And I'm actually using this little magic stitch, which is gonna help with fraying, so it won't fray. I also sewed my waistband, and now I'm gonna flip it inside out, or rather outside. The outside is in, so I want the inside out, basically. Yeah. So I'm gonna use a safety pin, which I'm gonna pin to one end of this channel and feed it through all the way to the other side, which is gonna flip my waistband. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of frame here. Go, and we're gonna want to iron this out because it's so bulky and we want it flat. But moving on to the ends of this waistband, so I'm gonna tuck the ends inside and then just sew a straight stitch along the end. So a top stitch basically, so that the frayed ends won't fray out. So I'm gonna iron the waistband both onto the pair of shorts and the kind of string that is gonna be going inside of this. Kind of pinching the seam to make sure that I'm not ironing the seam and pressing it and kind of losing fabric. So I want to be able to catch as much fabric as I can. So now we are back to working onto the waistband that is onto the shorts. So I'm gonna do kind of a hem, but a hem in which we can feed the string all around the waist. But first I'm gonna place my eyelets, and I'm measuring out exactly the placement so it's symmetrical on both sides of the middle seam. So these are the eyelets that I'm gonna be using, and I marked my placement onto one side. I'm opening the hem and I'm gonna be cutting small, very small holes into my fabric. I am being very careful here, and I'm gonna cut holes in kind of X shapes or a T, so that it's not too big. And I'm gonna place my eyelets. So there's one, like the pretty side on the outside, and this little ring. My hole wasn't big enough. So on one side, I'm gonna place the pretty side, and on the other side, it's just a little ring that is gonna help close this up. There's the other part. And I'm moving on to another surface, a sturdier surface. I'm on the ground there, and using this little tool that is gonna be provided with the eyelets and a hammer, I'm gonna hammer down my eyelets to close them up, and this is what the final result looks like. Now I'm gonna roll my waistband all around the waist and hem it down, creating kind of a little channel. So with my pins, I'm placing everything where it needs to go, and I'm finishing it up at the sewing machine. To the back pockets, so I'm gonna hem them at the top, so rolling out my fabric and sewing this part. So I'm gonna place a first one, tucking the fraying edges inside so it won't fray. I'm pinning it in place and I'm sewing it right away. I'm not gonna place the second pocket yet because I want to make sure that I'm placing them in a very symmetrical manner. And here you're gonna be able to see how I'm able to create angles in a line when I'm sewing. So what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna stop the sewing machine with the needle down exactly where I want it, and I'm gonna raise the foot, turn around the project and lower the foot, and then continue sewing. So this is gonna be creating sharp angles, and you won't see kind of a curve seam. And I'm gonna do that for all the angles in my pocket shape. finish off this project, I'm gonna cut out all of the loose thread. It's just gonna make it look so much more finished. And I'm gonna feed, using a safety pin, I'm gonna feed my waistband into place. So I'm gonna feed it through one grommet or one eyelet and feeding it out from the other eyelet. And this is the final result of this amazing pair of shorts. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if it's not already done.